Hey everybody, welcome to TMI, Too Much Information Live with Moondog, where I'll be going over some of the projects that I've completed this week, as well as give you some background information that you may not have gotten from the video. And I'll also be looking to get your input and suggestions into a project that I'm currently working on, namely to help write a headline for a thumbnail for an upcoming video, and maybe share some sneak previews of some of the projects that I'm working on, as well as we'll dive into random things and trivia that I've discovered on the web this week, and hopefully be entertaining, if not informative. So before we get started, though, I just wanted to call out this episode's sponsor, Aura, which has been an ongoing sponsor of mine. And I'd just like to encourage everyone to try them out. Now, they offer a complete suite of security services online, like spam blockers, a VPN service, all for a one very reasonable monthly fee, because basically it's the same price as a VPN service, but you're getting a bunch of other services. Namely, one of the big ones are credit monitoring and fraud alerts, but also you can get off of these damn data broker lists. And these are companies that are, well, there are hundreds of them online that buy and sell, trade our information. That includes our names, our addresses, our email addresses, our phone numbers, and they sell them to marketing companies, to political organizations, or any other organizations. And it's kind of annoying, but you can get yourself off of these lists, but you have to go to each individual one of them, and there are hundreds of them, to request to have your information removed. Well, you can just get them removed by simply using Aura's data broker removal service. And the great thing is, if you use my link, aura.com/moondog, you can take advantage of their credit removal service. But if you use my link, you'll get 14 free days of Aura service. And that's a free trial, absolutely free, no commitments to try them out. But during that time, you can use all of their services, their VPN, their credit monitoring, but also this one, which is the data removal, the data broker removal. And I got myself removed off of 30 data brokers in the span of a week. So I urge you to use this link, aura.com/moondog, one, because it helps support this channel, but two, also because I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be sponsored by them by the end of this month. So use it now while you can. And I will type in the link to that right now, just so it makes it easier. I'm sure you can see that on there. Oh, and I included a QR code for you if that's helpful. But you can just type in this URL and go sign up. All right. So for those of you who've joined us straight off, and I want to thank everybody who has, including Pick, Kentucky Rimfire, Michael Dunn, to type in your hashtag onto the chat right now. The hashtag is sub2000. And the reason why it's sub 2000, one, if you weren't aware of it, there's the Kel-Tec sub 2000, which is one of the more unique pistol caliber carbines out there, because it folds in half, and it tucks away very, very compact. It fits in a backpack. I own one. I think they're great. But here's the thing: what I'm giving away as a prize today is this collectible pin that you could only get from the Kel-Tec booth at SHOT Show. It is a Kel-Tec sub 2000, but the pin, you can see here, you can fold the pin just like the rifle. So the winner gets this collectible sub 2000 pin. And even if you aren't into pin collecting, I'm pretty sure there is a Kel-Tec fan, and they're pretty rabid out there. So I'm pretty sure this will fetch a nice little bit on eBay if you want it, if you don't want it. So anyway, get your hashtag in sub 2000 and you could win this. Okay. All right, let's move on here to the new videos this week. Now, what I have posted up earlier this week, last weekend, was a compilation video where I did two different videos earlier on, where I tested both CCI standard velocity and Aguila Super Extra standard velocity. And I was just testing it in my Ruger Precision Rimfire to see, how it grouped, because we all like to look for an ammo that runs in our rifle well. And I've had my Ruger Precision Rimfire for a few years now, but I haven't had the time to really go through all the different ammos to see which it likes the best. And I know these are not really match grade ammo by no means, but I just wanted to see what groups the best among the mass market cheap ammos that I could easily get. Because and then I'll get into the match grade stuff. But I made a video where I actually did a head-to-head comparison from the results of those two individual videos. And I also asked which, when I posted up the individual videos, which people preferred just a standalone video where I just tested the CCI standard velocity, and where I tested out Agula Super Extra. And people seem to prefer the head-to-head comparison. One, also in how people responded in the comment section, but also in the actual views of the video. So of all three of the videos, the one that did a head-to-head comparison got the most views. So I'm going to continue on with that. So that's people have spoken out, but that's what they ended up with. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to do some other testing with CCI mini mags, with Agula Super Extra high velocity, with Federal. We'll continue on, and I'll try to post those up when I get an opportunity to. The next video that I posted up this week was a test of the EDPRS. This is the 4-20. Now, I did the review of the EDPRS from Discovery Optics when it came out. The first one they came out with was a 5-25, which is an excellent object, by the way. But it was kind of surprising to me that they reached out to me last month and sent me a 4-20, because I was thinking 4-20 isn't really that much of a big difference between a 420 and a 5-25. Why did they make this? Well, this is really a step up from the typical 4-16 scopes that a lot of people will get, because honestly, a lot of folks who shoot medium to long range, and if I shoot a lot of rimfire, which for a lot of folks 100 yards is long range for rimfire, because most people shoot rimfire at 50 yards. But even when I'm shooting at 100 yards, I seldom crank it up all the way to like 25. I'm usually around 16 anyway, just because that gives you a wider field of view, but also just overall sharper. Because as you're magnifying any object, you're magnifying its base resolution of its glass. So if the glass is not super sharp, if you're getting chromatic aberrations, just magnifying that to 25, it just makes those flaws bigger. That's all it does. So oftentimes it's better to be shooting somewhere about halfway in the magnification range of a scope, but typically a lot of folks shoot at 16 or even 12. So it makes sense that, well, if you're going to be shooting that low anyway, why do you really need a 25? I mean, unless you really need 25 power, why not just get a 4-20? It's lighter, it's a little bit cheaper, so it totally makes sense why somebody would want a 4-20, or a 4-16 is often the case. But in this case, if you're going to get a 4-16, they said, well, why don't we take it up a notch and give you 4-20? And that's the scope that they sent out to me. And we talked about this actually a couple of weeks ago, where some of you came up with some suggestions for headlines. Now, in my Moondog reviews channel, I reviewed this really nice spotting scope from Athlon, the Chronos, which is their top of the line. Chronos is their most expensive and the highest quality in terms of glass of all their scopes. And for whatever reason, they and a couple and some other scope makers call their ED glass HD glass. It's a marketing thing. It's the same thing. It's a high fluorite glass. That's because it has fluorite impregnated into the gas crystals. It reduces chromatic aberration, and the Chronos is an example of that in their spotting scope. This one is a 20 to 60, and it is a really nice scope. And it's their top of the line. It's the most expensive spotting scope, but really in the realm of spotting scopes, it's not super expensive, surprisingly enough. I mean, compared to like a Leupold or a Swarovski or a Kowa, those top end scopes, spotting scopes are like in the thousands. This one is right around $1,000, so expensive. Certainly not a budget scope, but in comparison, affordable. So, which gave me to my question I want to ask everybody out there in the chat. What makes you pick one scope brand versus another in terms of if you're going to have the same amount of, say, if you're going to get HD glass or ED glass, and is it strictly price? And I know that one of the comments that I got back last week when I asked this same question about a binocular was the service and the reputation of service from the company, which is absolutely that's a great reason why you would pick one company over another. But now, if you're getting a lifetime warranty on all the products, it's pretty standard now across the board, whether you're buying a Vortex or an Athlon. So what makes you pick the Athlon versus the Leupold versus the Vortex, or the Bushnell or what have you? So for example here, Michael Jen says reviews and price. Yeah. The range says price and warranty. And they also said that Vortex is my go-to. And fair enough. If you've had good experiences with a product and their product line as well as service, why would you not support the company that you like? And conversely, obviously, if you've had a bad experience with the company, why would you ever buy another product from them? So that makes sense. And that I separate from fanboy territory, where you just pick a brand and say, I'm all this is the best brand overall. Everybody else sucks, and you don't actually look into other brands or own them or what have you. But so I don't lump everybody who likes a certain brand as a specific fanboy either. Now, Pick says quality of glass, and to be fair, yes. I've also found that once you get us to a certain price range, and with most of the major brands, there's not that much difference. I mean, I've do my own testing with the U.S. Air Force optical resolution chart just to see what kind of difference, because sometimes it's hard to be able to tell. You can take the same if you're fortunate enough to get 2 or 3 brands of scopes, and you put them, and you're at the range, and somebody else happens to bring the same another brand of scope, and you can compare same target, same time. Yeah, you can do that. The harder thing is when you're testing videos, doing videos where you're testing products like mine, like where I test on different days, different weeks, different times of year. It's harder, I can't take all of the scopes I plan to review and do them all at once. It would be nice, but that's just not logistically possible. So what I try to do is pick a specific target, a reference of some sort. In the case of when I do long range stuff, I use the same hell. Granted, it's different time of year, different weather conditions. Sometimes we'll get hazier days than others. Sometimes we'll get haze from brush fires elsewhere in the state that come in, and sometimes I can't shoot it all in the same time of day. I try to shoot it in the morning when there's less heat mirage, but sometimes I just my own schedule, I can't do that. But I say so in the video, so I always try to use the same references in most of my videos, just so you can get a little bit of a better comparison when you're watching a given review video of mine, and compare up one brand over the other. And let me see here what the other comments. Kentucky Rimfire says, I am not married to any brand. I like trying new ones based off of reviews. Yeah, that's great. And Pick said, yeah, that chart sucked me into your channel. Thank you. Well, I was really looking for, when I started doing reviews of scopes, one, I always like to show you what I was seeing, or at least as well as I can. That's the reason why I spend so much time to take through the glass videos. And it's a pain to be honest, it's a pain in the butt to set those things up. So it's not easy for sure. But that's one of the things I wanted to do is, okay, now that you're seeing this, what can we look at that you can actually compare a video to a video? So I happened to discover that the U.S. Air Force had created a chart back in the 1950s so they can compare the optics of their aiming devices. And so I've been using basically the same 8.5 by 11 sheet for all of my videos for the last 2 years. So hopefully that helps. So let me just call out some of the folks who've joined us. And let's see, I'm going to scroll up here to see the last. I've highlighted. We got Troy Townsend who joined us. We got The Range, who I called out earlier in one of his comments. And we have Mark Thomas, hey, from out in Pennsylvania way. Thanks for joining us today. And we have Boomstick, aka Fuku YT, and you can figure out what his name stands for and his point of view. But just a little bit of background. Boomstick has had a channel for quite a long time, but ran afoul of YouTube's draconian community guidelines. And it's I won't go into a long rant, but anybody who's done any sort of 2A or gun reviews or gear reviews that have anything to do with firearms has run afoul of their advertiser friendly guidelines as well as community guidelines on YouTube, which often are not super clear, or they'll list a bunch of things that you're not supposed to do. But even if they of those things, sometimes they'll flag your content for violating that, and it's like, well, it's not really on that list, but they also say in the list it's not the list is not complete. It's like among these, like these are some of the ones that we could dig you for, and others, but they don't tell you what the others are. So there's a lot of chicanery that way. Also, the people who actually, the quote unquote humans who review the videos for whether or not they violate the ad friendly guidelines, can be capricious or uninformed, or one of the or both. I'm not sure. Sometimes they'll flag things that incorrectly. For example, I've had videos of lasers or a red dot, and they will, I think, based on the what they cite it as, they misunderstand it as being a thermal optic. Like it's not, it's a red dot. It's not a thermal optic. Or in the case of it's any accessory. Sometimes they'll ding an accessory like a scope. They'll list it as gun modification. It's not a gun modification. And certainly not a legal gun modification, but it's not a gun modification. It's a scope. It's an aiming device. So, but anyway, I won't go into that too long. But unfortunately, Boomsticks had at least one of his channels removed by YouTube because what they deem a violation. And so I can totally understand where Fuku YT is coming from. And Michael Dunn says, we need a new owner of YouTube. True. I think Google should spin it off, and I hope maybe whoever is going to be the coming into the new administration brings that up. That Google is an effective monopoly. Whether or not they don't necessarily ban people from their free service, but they're an effective monopoly, and for them to also own YouTube is an even greater threat in terms of exercising monopoly power. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And everyone, and he also commented, Michael Dunn said, everyone is getting jailed lately. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Okay. So let me move on to my other channel, which is Moondog Go, which is the one I'm trying to get over the 1,000 subscriber hump. We're getting closer. I think the last I checked was like 820. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to make it before the end of the year. It'd be great if I was able to do that. So if you have any friends, you please send out a link to my Moondog Go channel and suggest that they subscribe. We're getting very close. Once you get over 1,000, that's one of the requirements for YouTube to have a channel monetized. The other is you have to have 4,000 watch hours, which that's a whole nother thing. I'll also need, I think I'm only at like 2,000 watch hours for the channel. But I'm willing to play the long game on this. I think I put up some really good travel and related content on Moondog Go, and hopefully enough people will find it and start watching some of the videos. So the newest one that I posted up was a drive-through of the Caldecott Tunnel. And a lot of people, even in California, Northern California, have never even heard of the name of that tunnel, but it's a tunnel that runs under the Berkeley Hills that connects Oakland, essentially, or Oakland and Berkeley, to the other side of the hills, which is towards Walnut Creek and Antioch. And that's how you would get into Central Valley, or go into, that's one of the ways you could get over towards Sacramento and further into the interior of the state. And what the interesting thing about the tunnel is it's actually 4 different tunnels. And because when they started building it, they built it as 2 tunnels, one going each way. But then as more and more traffic built up, they added a 3rd tube and then a 4th tube to handle all the traffic. The other interesting thing about the Caldecott Tunnel is that you can experience the huge weather extremes, because the bay, San Francisco Bay, because it's water, has a very moderate temperature, and the main current comes from Alaska. So it's cold water coming from the north, and it causes the very mild and pleasant climate here. But it also brings in the fog, which San Francisco is famous for. But on the other side of the hills, which creates a weather barrier, a climate barrier between the bay and the interior of the state, it can be 120 degrees on the interior side, on the eastern side of the Berkeley Hills. But once you cross the tunnel, you could be in 50-degree weather in fog. So it's one of the more dramatic things. Didn't actually happen to see it all that much in this particular video, but one of these days I hope to be able to capture that. The other interesting about the Caldecott Tunnel that I found out when I was doing research about it was that it's featured in the Percy Jackson books. So I didn't know that. So I think it's in the last book. It was featured as the battle. I never read the Percy Jackson books. My son has, and I saw the rather not a great movie version of that. Though there was I think it was a Netflix series, perhaps, that was actually seemed like it was done better. So, oh, we have Ben Tress Marksman joining us from down under. How's it going, Alan? And we have the Range commenting, there's nothing cooler than sitting in San Francisco watching the fog roll in from a high up building. It's amazing. Yeah, and it looks cool. It's just this wave of gray that rolls in. And also, if you see it coming over the hills, it looks like a time lapse, just seeing this billowing mist come over the hills. It's quite epic. But I wanted to share that video, actually, and let me see if I can load that up, the Caldecott Tunnel, and I can show you, because it's a pretty short video. Just to be, let's see here if I can. I thought I loaded it up, but I guess not. But if you just bear with me here, I will find that video and share it with you. So let me just ask a question. Have you, to the folks out there on the chat, have you guys, who out there has visited San Francisco? And I know that I probably don't recommend folks visiting San Francisco right now. It's not, the crime is bad. It's not as bad as it seems like on TV, but there are certainly areas in the Bay Area that I would not recommend going touristy, being a tourist in, namely downtown San Francisco and Oakland. So, but there are parts of Oakland that are really nice, but yeah, I don't necessarily recommend that your average normie tourist go there right now. That's sad, but it's true. So, and I'm speaking from the point of view of a local. So anyway, here. This is the entrance of one of the tunnels. And that's, we're getting into traffic now. A little bit of traffic. You see a lot more traffic on the return side. All right, so that is the drive from the Caldecott Tunnel from the eastern side over into the Oakland side. The range says traffic out there is nuts. LA is worse than SF. I agreed, and I grew up in LA. And even when I was growing up, everybody was saying LA traffic was bad, but it's gotten worse, way worse than when I lived there, when I was growing up there in the 70s, 80s. And even I started even seeing that in the 90s. But yeah, it's horrible. Ryan says, I've only seen the West Coast once in Washington. That was a long trip. Where did you drive out from? Yeah, that's the thing about on the West Coast. And somebody like Alan can also appreciate this. People don't really appreciate the distances that you have to drive on the West Coast of the United States. It's just the time frames. You can also get this in the Southwest, like if you're in Texas. To me, when I was growing up, to close was half an hour's drive anywhere. So just when I went to go shopping, I'd have to get on a freeway and drive for 30 minutes at 60 miles, 65 miles an hour. So 30 miles to me was not far. That was just, what I would do. Yeah. But also living back east and else in the Midwest, yeah, that's a different mindset. Yeah, here, Alan, who lives in Australia, says 200 kilometers is nothing. Yeah, true. And don't forget, folks, Australia is about the size of the continental U.S., so it's not a small country for sure. And the range says, I'm in Illinois, 70 miles west of Chicago is farm country. Yeah, it gets anywhere elsewhere in the country, things change drastically. And even when I was living in New York City, you could drive or get on the train and be out in a farm up the Hudson River inside of 45 minutes. So yeah, things can change really fast back east. Michael Dunn says, I believe he means fled. I fled to Washington 7 years ago for a family wedding. I loved it. We stayed on the island. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Northeast is just wonderful. And Bentress Mark says, and you're still in the same city area, not like Europe where you can go to 5 different countries. Yeah, in the same amount of time. That's a whole nother mindset. When in Europe, yeah, you could, inside of an hour, you could be in 3 different countries, just because things are so small. All right, so let's move on here. Where were we? Oh yes, we're talking about the Caldecott Tunnel, and I'll get back to that. But that brings us into before I get into the thumbnail, just want to remind everybody that today's hashtag for the early birds, who a lot of you guys out who joined us already, so thank you, is going to be hashtag sub 2000. And that is to win this collector's sub 2000 pin that folds out. So this is a pin they gave out at the Keltec booth at SHOT Show. You could pin that onto your jacket or whatever, but it's cool that you can the pin actually folds out like the real Keltec sub 2000. So the new video that I'm working on that's going to be going live next week is going to be for the new Olight O clip, which is, let's see if I have that here handy. It's a wearable EDC, and this one's the O Clip Pro, and this is the holiday edition, which it's still available. You can get this bundle with the O Clip and the O Sphere, which is this cool light up sphere that download their app and you can have it change different lights, and there's a whole slew of things how you can press and cycle through that. It's in the user manual, but it's easier to use the phone app on this. But it's cool that you can use this for mood lighting, and it's magnetic, so you can clip it onto your locker, your wall, or your fridge, and add a little mood lighting to your room, just with this little sphere, and it's completely waterproof. So I've seen people um, use this as a pool toy. This is kind of cool. You can just toss a bunch of these into the pool, and pool party will never be the same or as cool with with a couple of these. So um, again, you can. I forget if you double tap this to turn it off. Oh no, that's a whole nother setting. Anyway, I'll figure out how to turn this off. I have to look it through the manual. But so you can get this. You can get the O Clip Pro, and you can get and this is magnetic too, by the way. And you can get the holiday version of the Arcfeld Pro. So you get all that in a bundle with Olight. So I did a test and review of the Olight O Clip, and just looking for, what do you think would be a good headline to put with that? So I'll look for any posts that you guys put into the chat for that. And let's see, what did I have for the O Clip headline that I was working with? I think the headline that I'm working off of now is just pretty straightforward. Like, it's O Clip wearable EDC, nothing, or clip on multi light. So pretty pedantic stuff. Let's see if you have anybody out there has a better headline that I can put on there, and I'll include it in the mix of I can put up to 3 different headlines to test through YouTube's systems. So yours will be one of them if you post up some ideas, and then other folks like it. I'll include it. Question about the O Clip. Would you consider this as a pocketable EDC, or is it a special use EDC out there? It's not too chunky. I mean, because proportionally it seems chunky, but if you compare it to the Arcfeld, which is certainly a pocketable EDC, it's not that much thicker. Really, it's just that because it's shorter, it just looks stumpier. So yeah, you can put this into your pocket as an EDC, but it certainly doesn't scream when I first looked at it something that I would pocket, but you could. So Michael Dunn has clicked on the one. I see you now, which is I think is a suggestion for him for the headline. So I wonder if it's as a suggestion, could we do something with Santa or the Christmas theme? Now, this isn't the review isn't necessarily for the Christmas themed version of it, other than the fact that I used it because I had it. But obviously, the review and my testing and comments on it are universal, year round, are not tied to the fact that it is a Christmas themed graphics on this particular video. All right, I'll wait for any additional thoughts on that, but I'll move on to the early bird drawing. So again, get your hashtag in sub2000 if you've joined us just now, and you can win the Keltec Sub 2000 folding pin. And let me see how many folks we have. We have 6 entries so far, so I'll let that stay up there for just a little bit longer to see if anybody else wants to get their hashtag in to be up for winning that pin. If not, we'll give it 10 more seconds, and we'll see if anybody else wants to get in on that pin. And also, if anybody wants to post any other suggestions for the headline for the O clip. All right, we're gonna draw for the pin. So we add this to the stage, and let's see. 3, 2, 1, and who's the pin going to? Mayhem Miller. Congratulations. I think you won, is it like 2 weeks ago? Congratulations. So I think Mayhem won the. I've was it the Evic drawing that you won? But anyway, Mayhem. Hope you are still out there right now. If you are, please post something in the chat. Oh, forgot to mention the rules are if you have to be present to win, and email me if you are there. You have to type into the chat just so that we can be fair. So looking for Mayhem to post something in the chat. And if you do win and you do post in the chat, then email me your contact, your mail to information where you want to have the prize sent, and I'll get that out to you. So just looking for Mayhem. All right. We'll give him another minute or so and see if he joins the, if he posts something in the chat. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. All right. Shall we give him to count of 10 before drawing again? If I don't see Mayhem in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm sorry, Mayhem. Okay, we're going to draw again. Kentucky. I think I saw you out there just a few posts ago. So hopefully he's still out there. Kentucky, if you are, please post something in the chat section just to make sure that you're still interested in winning the pin. I appreciate that. Michael Dunn says, I think Mayhem might have gotten into an accident. And Alan says, redraw. We did. Hopefully, Kentucky, if you're still in the chat, I'd appreciate it if you typed in. I saw you earlier on in the chat. And I know Kentucky from the Hillbilly live stream. So if you guys have an opportunity to check us out on Saturday nights, that is at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, and 7 Pacific time. I'm on the Guns, Beer, and Therapy live stream pretty often as a guest on the panel. And Kentucky Rimfire is one of the other regulars on there, so as well as a number of the folks here on this chat. Hey, Lightspeed, thank you for joining us. All right, so I'm going to have to redraw again for for the pin since Kentucky hasn't come back. It's a shame. All right, so we'll skip them. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, we'll redraw. The range. The range, are you still here too? It's gonna be like the third time. So a lot of the folks who did get their hashtags in were some of the first ones to get in. So are definitely early birds. So I do appreciate that. But hopefully the range is good. Awesome. All right. Yay. So the range, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email, and let me just find my let me just type in my email address for you here. Go send me an email at moondogairsoft@gmail.com and send me your mail to information, and I will get this collectible pin over to you. All right. So we've got that giveaway done. And I'm going to share with you, as soon as I get this other, I'm going to load up another hashtag. So get in your hashtag cult, and what you're going to win is a cult tote bag that also came from SHOT Show. So this is one of those these bags that you can fold in and compactly and store it in your pocket or in your glove compartment or wherever if you need a tote bag or shopping bag. I don't know how many states out there have outlawed plastic bags, but it's annoying. But yeah, California, New Jersey, a couple of other states are going that route. So I have a ton of bags in my car now just to go shopping with. But still, this is a really cool tote bag to have because you're also sort of covertly showing your 2A support because you have such a cool historic brand as Colt Firearms. So if you get a chance, you can win this tote bag, bring it to the beach, and you can you'll get that sort of nodding look from guys and gals who know, and they'll go, yeah. Lightspeed pointed out here, gee, what do Cali and Jersey have in common? A lot of folks from both states will say not much, but yeah, unfortunately that, and also some stupid gun laws. But yeah, what can you do? And Michael Dunn said good for your range pickups. Certainly, yeah. It's a cool bag to have to just put stuff into. I've got a bag of stuff just for spare clothes. And for those of us who have kids, you always have to carry spare clothes for your kids. Not so much anymore where you have to worry about, them making accidents and having to change their clothes out. But I also keep a spare set of clothes in the car for the entire family, just in case. It's not often that I would get stuck in the snow or whatever, but any sort of disaster situation where who knows, I'd have to maybe there's a brush fire and my home is already destroyed. There's no way for me to get back any of my clothes. At least I know I have a spare set of clothes that I can change into. Worst case scenarios, I have an extra pair of clothes. At the very least, underwear, socks, and a t-shirt in the car, and I keep them in tote bags like this one, just to have. All right, so we got some other folks joining us. We have Alakazaba. So I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And we have American Hillbilly. Hillbilly Up has joined us. Thank you for joining us, Hillbilly, and thanks for letting me borrow your stream here. And don't worry, he says, howdy, Moondog, and everyone. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry, you're not late. You're just on time. So thanks for doing that, for joining us here. All right. So the word of the week is one of the things I like to share with you guys. And the word this week is actually two words. mondegreen and earcorns because they're related. So mondegreens is a misheard or misinterpretation of a phrase in a way that gives it a new meaning. Mondegreens are most often created by a person listening to a poem or a song, and the listener being unable to hear the lyric clearly substitutes a word or sound similar, and that makes some sense of it. Now, this word was coined by American writer Sylvia Wright in 1954, recalling a childhood memory of hers where her mother was reading the Scottish ballad, The Bonnie Earl of Moray, and misheard the words, laid him on the green as Lady Mondegreen. Now, this is related to an earcorn, which is a word that is misheard and is changed up. So instead of hearing the word acorn, which is a seed from an oak tree, you might hear it as eggcorn, which because it just sounds kind of like a homonym. All right. And the reason why this came up was, and we'll get into the rabbit hole here, I started watching some videos about misheard lyrics in songs. And I'm sure all of you have suffered through this and experienced this, where, especially when you're singing to yourself a song on the radio and somebody points out to you, dude, that's not the right lyric. And I don't know if this is a male specific or a female specific thing, but this, at least in my family, more often happens with my wife singing something, and I will say, that's not the lyric. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But do you think that eggcorns or mondegreens are more common with men or women? I don't know, but let me know in the chat if you think one is more common than the other. But here's a list of the top 10 misheard lyrics as told by the American Songwriter website. And in no particular order, as far as I could tell from the article. But the first one is Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley. And people often mishear that as we're caught in a trout, like the fish. Yeah, we're caught in a trout. So that's that. And in that case, number two, Betty Davis Eyes, Kim Carnes, and this is a lot of these are going back a few years. Haul the bathtub just to please you. Haul the bathtub. Number three, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson, very popular song. The chair is not my son. The chair is apparently what people often mishear that instead of the kid. I don't know. So apparently people have misheard that and have been missinging that lyric for quite some time. Adele. So here's a more contemporary song. Adele's Chasing Pavements. Should I give up or should I keep chasing penguins? Penguins instead of pavement. But I don't know if I ever hear penguins. I hear, if anything, I would think people mishear that as payments, like to pay something. Should I keep on chasing payments? But the song title is Pavements. But then again, how many times have people misattributed the name of a song to something else entirely too? So let me get into some of the comments some of the folks have here in a second. But let me just finish off the top five so far, and I'll get to the other five. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, or in parentheses, because the song was originally Sweet Dreams by the Rhythmics, and people often mishear that as Sweet Dreams Are Made of Cheese. I can kind of buy that. So here's some of the comments I've got back already from y'all in the chat. My wife says men. Of course she would. All men say that Ryan. All women say that, Ryan. That's true. And not to be a spoiler here, but yeah, a Louie is definitely on the list. And surprisingly, on this list, Blinded by the Light is not one of them. But yes, I am aware of that. Blinded by the Light, and most people mishear that as douche, but it's a deuce as in two, and it has to do with a car. But people, and I'll admit it, when I was growing up, I thought it was wrapped up like a douche, which is, kind of gross, I guess. I'm thinking of a douchebag, but anyway. So let's get into the next top 10 here. And here's one I want to ask you guys. What are some of the other misheard lyrics that you or are guilty of, or have heard other people mishear or misquote? Type in that. I'd love to see that in the chat. So just exactly what Hillbilly just typed in here. Bad Moon Rising, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Well, most people mishear that as there's a bathroom on the right. Or in his case, there's a baboon on my right. And this is, I guess, before Any Which Way But Loose. So even then, baboon. Yes. Number 7, Forever in Blue Jeans, Neil Diamond, is Reverend Blue Jeans. Reverend Blue Jeans. I can see that. I can kind of see that. Dancing Queen by ABBA is number 8. See that girl? Watch her scream, kicking the dancing queen. That for some, that might actually be better lyrics than what they would normally hear from ABBA. Kicking the dancing queen. And number 9, We Will Rock You the Queen. Yes, kicking your cat all over the place. Okay. Kicking your cat all over the place. And as I think some of you already said, Louie Louie by the Kingmen is number 10. And that's just because those guys were drunk when they were recording that, I guess. Or maybe they were just trying to act drunk when they were recording that song. But I don't even know if half of the lyrics of that song weren't even actually words. They were just mumbling through everything. But there was even FBI investigations into the song, whether or not it violated FCC regulations against profanity on air, just because people couldn't understand that particular song. Here's one from Troy posted up. Elric books Elton John. I'm not sure what that's reference to, but anyway. Oh yes. So Troy Townsend said Electric Boobs. It's a Betty and the Jets. That's that song. So yeah, I think I'm trying to remember the actual lyrics, but yeah, I mean, the Elton John songs are notorious for people mishearing what the actual lyrics or what the actual words are. But yeah, I thought that's me too. I have to say, I thought he said Electric Boobs. I think it's a Know What To. I read it in a magazine. So yeah. Michael Dunn said, Starship, we built this city can sometimes be heard as we built the city on sausage rolls. Yes, we built this city on rock and roll. This is a personal take on this. That is my least favorite song from Starship. But anyway, but yeah. I did want to share that misheard lyrics. One of the ones that wasn't on the list here was Pour Some Sugar on Me. And there is actually a famous commercial, or I don't know if it's famous, but there was a commercial that came out about 2002 for AT&T that was all about mishearing lyrics. And I'll play that for you in a second here. But I wanted to share, which I thought was just kind of funny, is BuzzFeed's take on misheard lyrics. So I'm going to share this, and hopefully I don't get copyright ding, but it's funny enough that I thought I'm willing to risk it. So I'm going to share this with you.
In New York, concrete jungle, wet dream tomato. I see a little silhouette of a man. Got a moose, will you do the fandango? The noble...
What's a fandango?
It's a movie service, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get your ticket.
Secret Asian man. Secret
that's me.
Asian man. Fuck her face. Fuck her face.
Stop it.
Fuck her face. Fuck her face. There's a bathroom on the
Here we go.
We're
TCR.
driving for like 3 hours.
I told you we're not stopping.
You're not my real dad!
I wish that I wasn't!
I miss Mom.
I mean, they're having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug and you'll end up getting drugged.
What? You
Hey,
nasty.
you know, it's a P. Diddy.
Here we are now, in potatoes, avocado, a potato, yeah!
Lucky that my breasts are small and humble, so you don't confuse them with muffins. Like, hole. Chris. Like, hole. Chris, stop eating my muffins.
Visually, very disturbing.
No, it's Thunder Chief, guys.
It's done with sheep. Everyone knows
underneath.
that.
No,
It's actually Hunger Key.
Get out of here,
What?
Keith.
Get out of our video.
You can't be in every video, Keith. I'm looking at the band. Get out of here.
You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk. You're gonna miss me by my taco. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
It's not fair to deny me all the cross-eyed girl that you gave to me. Yeah, I don't know. Blinded by the light.
Oh, here we go.
Wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Fuck, Chris. Yeah. Snap your bagels. Do your shit. You can do it all by yourself.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza. There's only one thing that would make this better.
It's gonna.
It's gonna be me.
Acting funny.
Oh, come on.
But I don't know why. Excuse me while I kiss this guy. Darling, you're so great. I can't wait for you to ovulate.
What?
Gross, Eugene. Allison, let's get out of here.
Ew, you smell like a douche.
What, like ice body spray?
You smell like an actual douche.
You can dance, you can die.
Vinegar and water, okay.
Having the time of your life.
All right, so that was one of the things that entertained me this week. So I just wanted to share that with you. One of the things I also wanted to share was the commercial that I was referencing for the Def Leppard's "Pour Some Sugar on Me," and here we go.
Sugar ramen?
Yeah, soup.
Freeze. A call to the library could help her out. Good thing T-Mobile lets her call whenever she wants. Go.
Says here, pour some sugar on me. I'm hot, sticky, sweet.
The most whenever minutes, free long distance and roaming. Only from T-Mobile.
Get more.
Interesting that looking at that commercial nowadays, this is from 2002, but you know, this is just before the iPhone had been released. I think it was at 2007. Well, not just before, but the fact that the convenience that they were touting with the mobile phone was the fact that you could call a library. But of course, now we have the entire library of the world available on our smartphones. We don't need to call somebody to get the correct lyric on that. By the way, I thought I would share this with you. The T-Mobile commercial. Well, about the same time, actually the same year, I had been working on a commercial for AT&T, and for some of you who have been longtime watchers of this channel may know, I used to work in advertising. I used to work for ad agencies, and be I was the guy who came up with ideas for TV commercials and radio commercials and ads and whatnot. But to proof that I did work in advertising and did create commercials. Here's a commercial that I created for AT&T Wireless back in the day, back in 2002. So I'm going to share this with you.
When I think of a perfect day, I think of Hawaii in December. Well, sure, it's a busy time of the year for me, but I can still get my work done while enjoying some local flavor. There's a lot of ice where I come from, but it's not the same.
Get unlimited night and weekend minutes, plus $115 in savings with AT&T's Digital Advantage plan. AT&T Wireless, the perfect way to connect with your world.
And I think this is the perfect day.
So Interesting thing about the commercial there. If you notice, you might have noticed somebody in the background briefly. Let me just scroll this back, see if you can spot somebody there who looks familiar. The director asked, we needed some more people in the background, so he asked me to sit behind Santa for that particular shot because we didn't have just enough extras at the time. We did have one of the other it wasn't a cast member. He was one of the, I think the key grips was sitting next to me. But yeah, we were enjoying real shaved ice at Matsumoto's in North Shore in Oahu for this commercial. And for those of you who this may seem weird, why is there a pig at the very end? And this is again too much information. We're thinking about reindeer. We couldn't get reindeer. We couldn't get a reindeer in Hawaii. It was too expensive for this commercial. So we were talking about, well, what could we have? What would Santa have in Hawaii? And the indigenous animals on the list there really were the only thing that was indigenous that the native Hawaiians brought with them to the islands were pigs. Well, chickens, but so we ended up choosing a pig and putting reindeer horns on them, but or antlers, so for the commercial. So there you go. That's a bit of too much information for sure on there. And I wanted to get into some other things on here, but I think we're running out of time, and I don't want to extend this episode too long. So maybe I'll save the other half of this. Pour Some Sugar on Me, but it has to do with misheard lyrics, and I'll save that for next week. How's that? Okay. But what I want to do is jump forward to our contest for this week. And for those of you who don't know, I am currently having a contest on my website to win this CV Life LPVO. This is a 1:6 second focal plane LPVO from CV Life. And for those of you who know CV Life, they're known for making budget accessories and red dots and optics. And to be perfectly honest, their optics were definitely budget, for at least up till now. This one has impressed me because I actually thought this one was way better than I would have given them credit for. And it's held zero. It's got actually a pretty nice reticle, which is actually kind of a copy of Trigicon's reticle. So if you're going to copy a reticle, Trigicon's probably a better one to copy. And it could be yours. All you have to do is go to my website and I'll post up a link here. But you can see the URL in that slide, but I will post it up for you so that you don't have to manually type it here. So you can just cut and paste. Hold on, let me get that link up in the chat section here. But you can always go to my website at moondogindustries.com/contest for whatever the current contest is. But this is a direct link to the actual entry page. And to qualify for this contest, well, one, you have to be a resident of the US. So unfortunately, you can't be outside of the US. For those of you who are watching outside of the US, like Alan and some of my Canuck friends. But have to be a resident of the US, and you have to prove that you are a subscriber to my new travel channel, Moondog Go. So if you're already a subscriber, great. If not, hit that subscribe button and then just send me a screenshot of your button that it's pressed subscribe on the home screen of my channel, and upload it. And the page, you can use that page to upload your screenshot to qualify, and you'll be entered into the contest. I'm doing the drawing for the contest on Christmas, the 25th. So you won't be seeing me live then. I'm not going to have a live on Christmas Day, even though it is Wednesday. I'm probably going to have it on the Thursday, right, the day after Christmas. So then I'll do the drawing live then. Oh, I'm sorry, Kentucky. You missed it. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna let them know. Yeah, we did the drawing and your name came up, but you weren't there to chime in, and so we actually had to give it to redraw. But next time. All right. So anyway, as I was saying, for my contest, it's going on all month long. You can win a CV Life Eagle Talon directly from CV Life, and it's actually a really nice LPVO. I would run it for sure. So definitely get into that contest. And we're going to do our final drawing of the night to everybody who's still on the chat. So get in your hashtag cult, and you could win the cult tote bag. So let me just share the screen. Let's see where, and get in your hashtags now. And let me bring up the screen for that. Okay, last call. We'll be drawing right now. And oh, Hillbilly wins the cult tote bag. And no, it's not rigged. Congratulations, Hillbilly. I hope you're on there. Please type in something in the chat. Otherwise, we'll have to redraw. I hate to do that again. a triple redraw yet again. But while we're waiting for Hillbilly to type something, oh, there we go! Yay, good on you. So Hillbilly is here. So okay, great. Okay, so and I just want to give a call out to some of the folks who just joined in just before we wrap things up. We've got Kanaidon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I want to thank everybody out here. Oh, I also got in 67 Rebel, who came in towards the end of tonight's episode. And I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight from the beginning, also those who came in at the end. And I'd just like to ask everybody to share this video with your friends. Tune in to the Hillbilly live stream on Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, at 9 p.m. Central, and 10 p.m. Eastern for the Guns, Beer, and Therapy live stream. And we'll also be having things work out. I might be having a guest on next week's live stream. I might have to push it out time-wise a little later just to accommodate his schedule out on the East Coast, just so that make sure that he's home, and because he can't join the live stream from work. Obviously, not all of us can. So I might push out the timing of the live stream for next week a little bit later. Hope all of you can join me for that. It may be at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Central next week. But I'll update everybody with my posts in my community section of my website with that. So hopefully you can join me for a later live stream next week. It'll be Wednesday. And thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. And I hope everybody has a great week. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.